In this video, we will be covering the setup of lot tracking in SFDC. We'll also be looking at how these different types of setup can change the output screen. And finally, we'll look at how the reporting of lot tracking reflects in nav. To use lot tracking, please ensure that any component items or finished items have already had their lot tracking set up before attempting to use SFDC. Once entries have been created on items, lot tracking can no longer be set up or changed. So I'll begin by showing you an example of an item that I have that's had its lot tracking set up. So if I just go into items, and I'm just going to search. And if I go into item tracking, you can see that I'm using the lot all item tracking code and the lot number series. So this is the finished item, but I've also repeated the same process on all of the component items. So now that that first piece of setup is done, I'm going to select OK. And now I'm going to go into the SFDC setup screen. So as you can see, in the output screen fast tab, I have item tracking. So if this is ticked, it's going to identify if there is an item tracking line for the production order line. And if there is, this is going to be displayed in the output screen. So I'm going to leave this ticked, and we'll use an example where there is a lot tracking line on the production order. Next, we have the lot track consumption tick box. This is used to determine the lot number for a component, meaning that all consumption made for this component is then taken from that lot number until it is changed within nav. So if you have lot track consumption selected, you can then choose from the component lot handling drop down, and this is where we're going to be focusing our attention on. So in the first example, I'm going to select blank. So the blank option is going to show me the lot number column on the component screen, but it's going to be blank, meaning that the operator or myself is going to be able to populate this manually. So we're going to leave that as blank for our first example. So I'm just going to select OK. Now I'm going to go to sales orders and new. And I'm going to enter in my customer number. So this is just telling me that my customer has an overdue balance, but for this example that doesn't matter, so I'm just going to select yes. In type, I'm going to input item. In number, I'm going to put my bicycle item. I'm going to input location code blue. In quantity, I'm going to put 50. So this error is just telling me that I don't currently have 50 in stock, but that doesn't matter because we're going to create a production order to fix this. So I'm just going to select yes. And then I'm going to select line and item tracking lines. And then I'm going to go into actions and assign lot number. Okay, so now that's done, I'm just going to select OK. So that's just telling me that I don't currently have that item available, but we're now going to create the production order. So I'm going to select yes. And then I'm going to go to actions and planning. So in order to create the production order, I'm just going to select the action from the ribbon. And I'm going to set it to a released production order, as only released production orders show on SFDC. I'm just going to select yes. And as you can see, my released production order has now been created. So I'm just going to select OK and close. And OK again. Now I'm going to go to my released production order screen. So as you can see, my line's now being created. Now we're going to navigate into SFDC and see how the blank option on component lot handling has affected the component screen. So I'm going to begin by selecting machine center 130, which is Linda Mitchell. I'm then going to select my newest production order line, ending in 031 here, and next. And I'm going to select myself as the operator. So I've just started my production order, and as you can see, a slight change to what we used to, but we can now see the output lot number, which was due to me ticking the lot track output on the SFD setup screen. Now I'm going to move to my components. And again, different to what we've seen in some of our previous examples, I've now got two new columns. So lot number required, which in this instance is yes. So that means that all of these items have been set up to have lot numbers. And then you can see that my lot number column is blank. Even though this is blank, the operator will still need to enter a lot number that is for this item. So I'm just going to go back into Nav for a second and show you where this is. So I've come back into Nav. I'm on my item screen, and I'm just going to select the front wheel, which is the first line of my components list. I'm then going to select entries from the ribbon and item tracking entries. And then as you can see, I've got my lot numbers here. So I'm just going to use this first one, which is lot 0002. I'm just going to go back into SFDC. I'm going to tick the line, and I'm going to select post. Okay, so if I go back into components, you can see that I no longer have a remaining quantity. I was able to enter the lot number manually. After we've looked at examples for the other two types of component lot handling setups, we'll look at how the lot number for this component has reported. I'm now going to navigate back to Nav, and from here I'm going to go to the SFDC setup screen. And now, from the component lot handling, I'm going to select populate when single lot. So this option indicates that the lot number column will be populated automatically for a component line when there is already a single item tracking line, and we therefore expect to consume all stock from a single lot number. So I'm going to go back into the release production order that's currently showing in SFDC. So it's just this one ending in 31. I'm going to go to line and components. And we're going to look at item tracking lines for the back wheel. And then I'm just going to select the ellipses icon in the lot number column. And then I'm just going to select lot number 0003 here, which still has an available quantity of 990, so I'm just going to select OK. And I'm also going to fill in the applies to item entry. So it's just this positive adjustment that I completed in an item journal. And OK again. So now we'll see what that's done in SFDC. So I'm back in SFDC. I'm just going to go to the component screen. And as you can see, the lot number has now populated. Now if I tried to post one of the other lines with this lot number, it wouldn't work, because this lot number is relating to item number 70068 rather than 691771. So it's important that if you're going to be using the populate when single lot, that you use the item tracking functionality for all items to prevent this error from happening. So I'm just going to select this line, and I'm going to select post. If I go back into components, you can see that I've been allowed to post and I have 0 remaining quantity. In the next part of this video, we're going to be looking at the final option, which is split by lot. So I'm just going to navigate back into Nav, and I'm going to go into SFDC setup. Within component lot handling, I'm going to select split by lot. Split by lot allows for the splitting of production order component lines with item tracking lines it uses a combination of the component line number and the lot number. So essentially what this will do is, if you're using more than one lot number for a component, then more than one line will appear within the component screen. But the best way to demonstrate this is just to do an example. So I'm just going to select OK here. I'm then going to go back into my release production order. I'm going to select line and components. And we're going to do this demonstration on the chain assay. So I'm going to select item tracking lines. And then within the lot number, I'm going to select ellipsis icon. So firstly, I'm going to select the lot number ending in 4. And then rather than taking the whole 50 from this lot number, I'm just going to take 25. I'm then going to select the applies to entry, which again is a positive adjustment. I'm then going to create a second line, go into the ellipsis icon on the lot field, and I'm going to select the lot number ending in 11, and OK. So you can see that's pre-filled my quantity with the remaining 25. I'm then going to again go into the drop down for the applies to item entry and select this positive adjustment. And I'm going to select OK. So now we're going to see what that's done in SFDC. So I'm just going to navigate back to SFDC. I'm now going to select my components. And as you can see, I now have 2 lines for the same item number, and each one has a different lot number. So it really is up to you how you use these lot numbers. And whether or not you want your operators to be able to put them in manually, or whether you want that control to still be all on nav. So again, I'm just going to tick both of the lines to post them and select post. If I go back into components, you can see that my line has now dropped down to just showing as one line, as we don't have the lot numbers to differentiate them, but that will show in reporting. So in the final part of this video, we're going to be looking at the reporting that all this posting has now created, as well as where these lot numbers sit. So I'm just going to close, and I'm going to go back into nav. So now that I'm back in nav, I'm now going to go to the item ledger entries. I'm going to sort by posting date. And you can see that all of my items that have been consumed, so you can see the final example that we just did, where we split the lines into 2 for 25, and the lot numbers, and you can also see the full 50 for the first 2, and the lot numbers that were assigned to those. You don't need to use lot tracking on all items. As you can see, I do have many entries from previous demonstrations where we haven't used lot tracking at all. So it's up to you whether or not you want to use them on all items, some items, or no items. In the next and final video of this playlist, we will cover the creation of a production order and how this is then completed in SFDC. We will then look at the reporting that this produces.